The shutdown of the Suncor refinery kind of gave me hope, honestly, for the future. I think it's time to declare this area a Superfund site and start cleaning this place up. My name is Lucy Molina. I am the Environmental Justice Director for the Black and Brown Parents United Foundation, and we're here in Commerce City, Colorado. Increased vulnerability to COVID-19 connected to oil and gas development. What inspired me to become a climate activist was my children. I wanted to leave a better world for them. At the end of the year, during the Christmas time, Suncor had an incident where there was a fire, and this included 2 employees to be injured. In fact, I remember driving towards my house. I was coming from Aurora, and the sky was getting brighter and brighter as I got close to my house. I was like, what is going on? And as I got closer, I could see the flaring, huge flares coming out of the refinery. But at that time, still, we didn't know it was equipment malfunction. If our government is doing their work properly, then that facility should have been up to date, state-of-the-art equipment. But who's next to that? It's a little low-income brown community that is not worth it. If they blow it again, or they spew ashes on us like they regularly do. So a little bit of a history of this area is this oil refinery has been here since the 1930s. Currently, it is owned by a Canadian company, and that funding doesn't stay here. Think about decades of polluting this community. I fight environmental racism. When you walk around my community, we are highly Latino community, Spanish-speaking community, Mexicans, and also a low-income community. Our family members, they were not able to advocate for themselves. They didn't know the language. I feel our governments took advantage of that situation. Not only our governments, but the industries, the corporations took advantage of this community. Right now, it's shut down. This is a miracle that happened in the beginning of the year. It has been here for almost 100 years, and people rely supposedly on the refining from there and the neighboring states and stuff like that. So I think mostly it's the special interests that are fearing, right? It's the billions, the billionaires, the people that bank from us that are more scared than us. I think that is why it's a big deal. It's more of the economic loss of the rich folks that are banking out of us. I think for this community, finally we can breathe. I live here. I am an impacted resident, so I could walk to Suncor, and that includes the health impacts, the lack of value. They do not value this community as they should. Just call it what it is. It's poisons that in the long run are gonna impact your health. And yeah, the worst thing that can happen is death. I got to sit at the state capitol listening to the experts, to the doctors and the scientists, the chemists and all these, how they spoke about how these VOCs, how this pollutants and all these toxins that are emitted from these entities, they cause cancer, they cause leukemia. And then my grandma had just died from leukemia, so it was like a big old light, wait a minute, we've been here forever and nobody's told us. Nobody ever came to tell us, hey, do you know that what you're smelling? Nobody came to warn us to not make an investment. You might start getting the headaches, the bloody noses, which is what happened to us. My kids started with the bloody noses. My daughter had the migraines. I have the migraines. My mom developed vertigo. So I changed my lifestyle to better, more healthy for my kids, right? It became clear to me that it was not my lifestyle or genetics, how I've been told that it's my genetics, because most of every neighbor has some kind of health impact, worse than me. So I actually went thinking maybe, let me see if My neighbors are also impacted. When I came home, I really cried. I cried because I saw that my neighbors were impacted worse than me sometimes. Some of them were fighting heart disease. I have a 30-year-old neighbor that was fighting brain cancer. He's like, "Lucy, I have brain cancer." I was like, and I'm like, stomach cancers. I met a woman 3 blocks down the street that her 10-year-old son, all I asked was, "Do you know anybody that has migraines, bloody noses?" And she's like, "Yes, my son, he's 10. And I saw myself in her because my son was small when we moved here, and he was around 10 years old. And she's like, "He has bloody noses." And I was like, I wanted just to grab her son and just hold him. And she just looked at me. We just, like moms, we looked at each other, and we held each other. And I'm like, "I'm really sorry." She's like, she says that she had just moved 2 years ago. 2 years. Sorry, I get emotional. So I ask people, do you want more? Do you want it to smell more? Do you want more headaches, more cancers, more? No, then we got to get up and start fighting. Because our neighbor next door is asking the government to renew their permit, and let's blow some more on this community. You know why? Because you're not worth it. Because your little brown kid is not worth it. My brown child is not worth it. Because your low-income community is not worth it. And that is environmental racism. That is environmental injustice. I say, let's reimagine Commerce City. Reimagine. I mean, we've been living under the shadows of this entity for the last 100 years almost. Why cannot we reimagine Commerce City? And I call it the future hanging gardens of Commerce City, because I would like to see something more positive instead of us being the stinky city, which is what we are, the armpit of the state. I mean, you want to come and pollute or do something dirty here, come and do it in Commerce City, right? Because really there is no regulations. And I'm not here asking for a favor, okay? I'm asking for justice, because justice is not charity. Gracias, hermana. What advice I would give all the parents, all the moms? Don't wait for me. Don't wait for anybody to come and save you. If you see something that's wrong and that might impact your family and the health and education and the future of your family and your community, step it up. You can do that. You can be that person. I feel I waited too long. And if you see something wrong, speak up, testify, show up at spaces that you can advocate for yourself and your family and your community. We need to start supporting our leaders that will protect us, leaders that will listen to you. And if not, hold them accountable. It's time to hold polluters accountable, your own government and your representatives accountable. They're public servants. They're not there to serve entities and special interests. They're there to serve the public. They need to serve you.